Welcome to the Arena Sports Show. My name is Clauiee Grace Mpanza. Always by my side is my favorite influencer, Mahlatse Mphahlele. And today's episode is a little bit different. I'm excited and a tad nervous. And the nerves really is because many years ago, I used to work, of course, with this gentleman on radio, and it was absolutely special, a fantastic human being, and really great to have him alongside us. They called him the Terminator. I'm finding out other nicknames, but one thing that is certain in terms of former South African football, they always say that this is the youngest old-looking gentleman. That is, of course, Dikgang Mabalane, who was just terminating, of course, the defense line during his playing days, but not aging. I last saw you, I don't know when, but you still look the same, Dikgang. I don't know. What's your routine, guy? What do you do to stay so young?
No, I'm still stuck on the young, old what?
The youngest.
Youngest, oldest.
Young-looking guy.
Wow.
Now you can just give me what you want for your skin, man.
What an intro. Hey, guys. It's this thing we are like. You are fortunate, eh? It's we can't claim any credit or I'm doing this and it's just gratitude. We are blessed. We're grateful. But look, I think it's just
looking after yourself.
Looking after yourself. You do your best to look after yourself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do your part.
It's so weird interviewing you like this. Like, I've been thinking about
Why?
it. I was telling influencers, I'm like,
because you
there's
guys were
nothing.
co-hosts,
Exactly. Yeah, because there's nothing I don't know about Tommy. So now it's just like, okay, this should be interesting.
So, does that mean now I'm going to lie?
Don't. Because now I'll know you're lying.
No, we don't want lies. No lies.
No, I'm joking. No, for sure. There's always something to talk about.
Yeah.
There's
It's a good
always.
reunion. It's a good reunion.
How are you doing, influencer?
I'm good. Was in Devon over the last weekend.
Oh, yes. You made it.
Yeah, it was good. For the first time I came.
Have you
back.
recovered? Sorry.
No, he had lamb
The
curry.
the curry dealt with me.
Oh, it's the curry.
Yeah.
But at least it's nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
You know,
my stomach was
Devon
a bit
curry.
was a bit shell shocked, but I'm fine.
He's always sick, by the way, in terms of.
Yeah, it's for the first time. But you know
So
what I
this
did
time
this time?
is well.
I went to see my doctor before I left to take some flu pack.
Why are you always sick?
I don't
know.
know. I don't know.
I've been telling him that Durban is not for him. He doesn't want
Yeah,
to listen.
no, maybe you must just watch on TV next time.
Exactly.
Don't go.
No, I have to go.
You have to work.
Well, as you can tell, the panel is A-OK. Let's start by then finding out what's in your top stories.
South Africa have reached the semi-finals of the Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations and qualified for the 2025 FIFA Under-20 World Cup after beating DRC Congo on Monday night. Chiefs ended their 10-year trophy drought with a Nedbank Cup win over Orlando Pirates, but it will take more than a single trophy to help them become genuinely competitive again. Jose Riveiro was on the bench for the last time as Orlando Pirates coach on Tuesday against Golden Arrows, and he said adios to the supporters with his head held high for bringing trophies and crowds back to the Buccaneers.
Well, a lot has been happening in the world of sports. So now we flip things to find out which athletes or clubs have improved and, of course, impressed, rather, the gentlemen. With me, Terms, we'll start with you. Who's your star of the week?
I have to think about that for a second. But I've always been impressed by, maybe it's an obvious one, you know, Ribeiro for a good reason. Okay. But also really, Mofokeng, because I have a lot to say about him.
And we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So I have a lot to say about him. But I think he's impressed me. Nkotha, of course, as well. But I'll stick with, let's say, Nkotha for a good reason. I think he did well in the Nedbank Cup.
And there's mixed views about Nkotha, so I guess you
get
to profile him.
I'll also that's what I'm saying. There's a lot to say about these players, especially the young ones.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can talk to us then quickly in terms of Nkotha, what you've seen, because I mean, some fans are saying that no, there's something missing about him. But I mean, at the end of the day, Terms, he's a youngster and he is a developing player.
Yeah, youngster, relative word, also we use.
But he is young.
But he is young.
Yes.
He is young. A youthful player. I mean, look, I think he's got, you know, elements missing, but that's normal for a younger player. He will learn. But I think he's done well in a bigger stage. That goes for Rele, of course, as well. To have these young players, as young as they are, to play for such a club, you know what I mean? That's not an easy thing. The pressure that comes with the fans, you know, those things count a lot, especially for, you know, when it comes to younger players. But I think he's done well under the pressure. He's influenced the game. He's contributed to the game. He's scored important goals. Yeah. Particularly this past weekend, I think, you know, against Chiefs. If you raise your game, if you make an impact in a game like that, you know, as you know, compared to players that don't actually make an impact, players that play that are in a game but with little impact. You know, you're in a starting lineup, but there's not really much impact. You're not contributing that much in a game. I think he gets people talking. That's a good thing.
Yeah, for me, I think the important thing for Pirates, obviously, number one, it's important for these young players to play. And Coach Riveiro has done extremely well in terms of giving them opportunities. In South Africa, you hardly see these 20-year-olds at the end of the season, they look back and they've been playing Champions League. And I mean, these kids went to the semi-final of a Champions League. It's a big deal. Champions League is not child's play. It's a very, very tough league to play there. You play against the big boys and, you know, the traveling, and there's so much to learn. And that experience, they will take it to national team whenever they get called to national team. Traveling, being away from home, you know, it's very, very difficult to go through that kind of stuff. But as you said, with youngsters, there's always been a challenge of consistency. I know Nkotha has chipped up big time on big games, but I want to see him against the Mohau. I want to see him against the Mbekezeli doing the same thing. The same with Rele. Obviously, is an emotional character for South African football because he's well liked, he's young, he's got the looks, and he's got things going on for him. But if you really scrutinize the football stuff this season, he didn't have a good season. We have to be honest about that. And I doubt highly if he will be the player of the season. Maybe the young player of the season. Also for him, there's been an issue of consistency. I know he did very well in the Champions League, but in the league where you play, you've got 30 games in front of you, you have to consistently perform every season. He didn't do that, but we don't have to be too harsh on him.
I'm hoping you're wrapping up now,
yeah, we have to not to be too harsh on him. Hopefully he will go back and then they will re-look into situations and he comes back stronger next season.
Fantastic. Now you're star of the week after all of that.
We're still
on the star of the week.
All right, I think for me, I'll go to Chiefs. I mean, I checked the stats on Saturday. It was actually 10 years and 1 day since they last won the trophy. They last won the league on the 9th of May 2015. Yeah. So they won a trophy after 10 years and 1 day exactly. So yeah, my star of the week. Yeah, it's a long time.
It's a long time.
And what a way to wake up and be a champion upon your nemesis. You know, I think that's pure class. That script, whoever wrote it.
I saw somewhere, I don't know how true is it. Apparently the rand has strengthened a bit since the Chiefs won the league. But I'm under correction. I don't know if that's true or what, but something like that.
Is that the kind of impact and influence they have?
Yeah, but the happiness index has shot up a bit.
You know what my favorite tweet was out of Kaiser Chiefs fans? And this was from Amanda. She was like, what if Kaiser Chiefs is a country and South Africa is just a big province inside Kaiser Chiefs? I was like, you know what? Early Chiefs fans. And I love
they can be ambitious. We get it. It's just a Nedbank. You know, it's one cup. But
Ushayi Pirates, Ushayi Pirates.
Yeah, no, you know what? I think in this context, it's fine. They can let them enjoyment.
So where I stay there, one of the guys who does the garden there rocked up with the Chiefs Pura on Monday. He was working wearing that thing. That is just how happy they are, and they deserve it. It's been a long time. But there's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
They still have to finish the season.
True.
And I think all this thing will be wiped off their faces if they don't qualify for tournament. So
Yeah, that's another challenge.
They're
not
finish
done.
strong. Yeah, they're not done.
Far from it. And I guess then while we're at it, then let's talk Kaiser Chiefs, Tommy. I mean, here they are, Nedbank Cup champions, and the conversation now is Nabi. Does he stay on, or is it to say, no, yes, you've won us the Nedbank Cup, but in terms of style of play, in terms of coaching of players, have you seen anything from him during the season? Because he had pre-season. It's not like it's a coach that just walked in to Kaiser Chiefs. He had pre-season with the players, and there was also that break in between. So he's had time. Have you seen an improvement of players under Nabi?
That question can be answered so simple
Answer it.
in like 5 seconds, but hey,
No, give me 5 seconds.
it's always a
please.
tricky one.
Give me the 5-second
It's always
answer.
tricky talking about coaches as a former player, because then it gets personal and people get touched. But look, from an analysis point of view, I think for me, I've watched coaches before him that also couldn't get Chiefs in the last decade. Couldn't get Chiefs to where where they should be. And I don't think Nabi is different, has done anything different, compared to them. He's also here, and Chiefs still, haven't been league contenders. They've struggled, you know what I mean? Honestly speaking, if you look at those facts, then he's no different from the others. That's how I feel.
All right.
I think you should have just evidence. You should have proof. You should have facts that okay, he has taken us, put us here. Since he's been here, we have won cups, or rather maybe closer chasing the pack. There's some kind of factual improvement in the club, but we haven't really seen that. I mean, so that's how I feel about Nabi. I don't think he's been different from the other coaches that have been there and have tried to put Chiefs in a better position or improved Chiefs in any way. You know what I mean? It's unfair to say. It would be unfair to say that he's done better than them.
Okay.
That's how I feel about it.
All right.
Yeah, for me, it's very difficult to judge what's happening at Chiefs. Firstly, they bought players for the guy. I think for the first time Chiefs really went to the market. I think Kaiser was a good addition to the side. Lilepo looks good. There's been a few other players that were brought in to try and help, but that doesn't necessarily solve their problems, because if you look at the Chiefs squad, from number 1 to number last, I will say it again, half of those players don't deserve to play for the Chiefs. They don't have enough depth and quality to take Chiefs to win the league in the next year or 2 years. That's a problem. Nabi also, I think maybe he's not really necessarily a coach for projects. He's a guy who can go to Sundowns and get win. He's very, very. He's not a coach who can come and really be with a project and because
build.
Before build, because before they won the cup, you just didn't know what was happening. It was a project which was not going anywhere. Just that they won a cup now. And by winning this cup, in a way, he ticks very, very 2 important boxes. They are back in the Comfort Cup next season, and they've won a cup for the first time in 10 years. When those who are aligned to Chiefs look at the situation, they will say maybe not too bad. But now going forward, what's going to happen? So I really don't know. And I think when at the beginning of the season, when they said they want to go back to Comfort Cup, they were not looking at going back to Comfort Cup through the Nedbank Cup, but finishing third.
Yeah.
And look at where they are now and where it's third. So it's a bit tricky. It's a very, very tricky thing.
Yeah, and a quick one. Just it's not. I'm not talking about the players for good reason. I think I agree. The players, for me, have been. It's not something we can really say has been a problem for Chiefs.
Yeah.
they've had good players. You know,
Sure.
they've had good quality players. I've seen them, and for a fact that they can go into a derby and produce such a performance, it's possible. Meaning, you know, the players can do it. It's how do you get the players to do it? And for me, it points back to the coach.
Yeah.
The finger points back at the coach. You have the tools. You have, you know, what you need.
Yeah.
How do you make this machine work? That becomes a question.
You know what my thing is though, Terms, and I remember having this conversation with you in terms of when Crow was at Orlando Pirates and the conversations that you would have with him in terms of, okay, what are you expecting from me as a player? So now, when you look into Kaiser Chiefs players and Nabi, do you see that conversation happening in terms of the improvement of players? Because that's how you judge a coach anyway, to say, you've improved me and you've made me a better player.
You know, it's a good question, and I also have seen that in a game when I was Chiefs. You sometimes, from a former player's point of view, you can tell when players want to play and how the attitude is. You can see it from a game.
Yeah.
And I've seen games where you're watching Chiefs players and you understand that, okay, fine, what's the situation at Chiefs? As a player, I don't want to be under pressure. I don't want to be the one who's being blamed by, number one, my coaches or the fans. So it's the pressure from outside also, you know, that comes with playing for Chiefs. And I think the players have suffered in that regard, where now players are not expressing themselves, players are hiding in a game, players don't want to make mistakes. That, I think, now becomes just generally how Chiefs play or what's happening at Chiefs. Those are the things that affect Chiefs' game, you know. It's not just whether they can play or not, it's why can't they play. And I think I've seen that being translated on the pitch, you know, players not being able to really implement themselves. Again, the finger points at the coach. How do I rectify all of that? How do I, you know, change all of that? It's the coach's mandate. It's your, you know, what's required from you as a coach. You know, we expect you to make this work. And I think, yeah, that's what, you know, to answer your question, I think also it's something that I think was missing, you know, between with the player and coach.
All right, we've spoken intensively in terms of player improvement from the coach as well, in terms of relationship, how that is important. I think we touched on it as well last week, and influence. And then just to wrap up in terms of Kaiser Chiefs now going forward, yes, you've expressed your opinion. So going forward now, off-season, what's to do, the to-do list for Kaiser Chiefs?
You have to improve the squad. I just, you know, if you look locally, they can't get players from Sundowns, they can't get players from Pirates. And there's quite a significant concentration of players at those two teams, apart from them. If you improve, then you really need to have your scouting department must have been working very, very hard. Looking very closely at those so-called smaller teams like Mbekezeli, like Polokwane and Gallants and Golden Arrows, to see which are the players there that we can go and get there and bring them here, and immediately they get going. Because you are not going to get the Tembi Kosilos from Sundowns. That's not going to happen. You are not going to get the Tsokofotsumosa from Pirates. That's not going to happen. You know, and also you just look, our teams generally are not doing a good job in terms of scouting on the continent. They are not going to go to Cote d'Ivoire and bring a striker who can come and score 20 goals here. You know, so the scouting people must have identified maybe 3, 4, or even 5 players who can come in and really do well for them, so that they can enhance the squad. That's the challenge that they're going to face now. Because this team that they have now, really, I just do feel that a significant chunk of those players must go in and bring back new, hungrier players that can add value. That's also if the coach is staying. If the coach is leaving for the new coach, that's another story, because that brings a different dynamic to the situation. But for now, immediately they need to make sure that they finish in the top 8, because if they don't finish in the top 8, Zizokhala.
But tell me, I mean, just talking about the enhancing of the squad. I mean, I know you do, of course, DDC now and again. So you've seen the youngsters, and I mean, they just won the multi-choice Diski Challenge. Talk to us about those youngsters being promoted from Kaiser Chiefs side, because we're not seeing much of that this season.
Yeah.
Jose Riveiro at Orlando Pirates, he does that, but we didn't see that a lot from Nabi this season. Do you think that's something that should be looked for Kaiser Chiefs?
No, 100%. I think that's why you have the DDC. That's why you have a development, a feeder team. You know, you want that continuity as well, and give those players an opportunity. They're not there just to, you know, display football and end up nowhere.
Yeah.
They aspire to play for the big club, and I think that should be an inspiration for them. You know, when they are there, that hey, my aim is there, is to be in the first team. So, but the thing is, when in a team like Chiefs, and we all know, you know, it's a big club, you know, same as Pirates, Sundowns, there's always a demand, there's always expectations, there's always pressure to win things, and you know how it works. Those teams, most of the time, they buy. They you know, it's in the market. They go out into the market instead of going down below, you know, to get the players from development, you know, from that development. They do, but that rarely happens to get players that actually play. Even if they do get promoted, they don't play. So, you know, it comes with a bigger club. So I think that should change. I mean, you know, if you invest in that development, you see Stellenbosch does it. We know how many times we've spoken about Stellenbosch. They've got it right.
Yeah.
True.
So for me,
And Pirates this season.
and Pirates has seen that
Yeah.
it does work, even though they're a big club and they have expectations. But they said, no, look, you know, we'll still have you know, confidence in these boys. We will play them. Let's take a risk,
For sure.
and they got rewarded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess also it's a test to see also how good are these DDC players of Kaiser Chiefs, because surely if you know, they get opportunities during pre-season, maybe one or two of them to train with the first team, they can impress them. I've always felt that maybe some have been a little bit shortchanged. I look at, for example, Fabian McCarthy's son. I think you know, the boy should have got more minutes for the first team. For me, I mean, I'll play my head off Kunika or Msimango anytime. To give him time to play, you know. I think it's, I mean, I saw him playing for Bafana the other day and with his chance squad, and there's something there, you know. Maybe it's because of the pressure the coach is under. He doesn't have time to look at the young players. He wants the so-called ready-made stuff. I don't know, but for their sake, these young DDC players, maybe one or two of them get promoted, get contracts, and try and push for their places there. You know, as Stellenbosch, Pirates, and other teams have done with their players coming from the academy.
Well, we've spent enough time with Kaiser Chiefs. I'm sure the Kosi fans will be happy to say, oh my goodness, we don't have such...
Chiefs is Chiefs.
Yeah. So, but now to just quickly, before we profile you, in terms of then Orlando Pirates, I mean, we speak about Nabi as the coach. Jose Riveiro, we do know that he's also done with Orlando Pirates. But now when you look into the time that he's had with Pirates, I mean, arguably you could say that he's the cup king, domestic cup king, in terms of back-to-back MTN 8s, getting them 3 times while he was at Orlando Pirates, Nedbank Cup twice. Yes, it didn't go his way in terms of the Champions League this season and the Nedbank Cup, but in terms of his stay there and really the improvement of players, what have you made of him as a coach?
He's done brilliantly for Pirates. I mean, give credit to him. He's won cups, silverware, you know, more than we expected, of course. But I think that for that, I think give him credit. I commend him for that. But also the football they play, you know, it's exciting football, it's attacking football. Pirates play exciting football, and he's been a good coach for Pirates. However, here is a thing.
Oh, there's a but.
And it's the however comes because, let me put it this way. Someone asked me a question a while ago, a few months ago, about, you know, winning the league.
Yeah.
And I said, but you have to, as a player, it's a number. You can win all the cups, you know. You can win all the cups. But I think for me, I've always said, winning the league is something that I want to do before I finish my career,
For sure.
because it's that big. It's that of a bigger deal. You know, it's a marathon. I think for anyone who plays professionally, you want to get to the league. It's the ultimate. You know, and I think that's how I also probably would judge Jose, after having given him his credit, but this is still outstanding. And it would go for any coach, for that matter, that comes to Pirates. You will, from now on, they will be judged on, we want the league. We haven't won the league, you know?
Yeah.
And the league matters. It's a big deal. So that's how I feel about his stay at Pirates.
All right. It was good, but could have been better.
How better?
By winning the league.
Oh, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, yes, of
Could
course,
have been
exactly.
better by winning the league.
Yeah, I would agree with Timmy. I think Coach Riveiro has done brilliantly well. He can be proud of what he's achieved at Pirates. I think he will go down as one of the best coaches they've had you know, over their long illustrious years that the club has existed. He arrived at a club when the club was going through a very, very difficult time. There was not a lot of success at the club. They were not stable, and he came in there. You know, a lot of people actually ridiculed him when he first came. Say, who is this guy? What is he gonna do? And I think when this match against the Golden Arrows on Tuesday is finished, he will look back with pride of what he has done. There's no shame, really. You talk about improving players. I mean, I remember watching Payday and Swallows, and I was just seeing this guy who just runs around and doing
Yeah, different player.
I mean, you know, he worked with this guy, became a different player. Another example I like to give is Evidence Mahopa. That Evidence Mahopa was very, very unlucky because he was discovered late, and after that, he went to work with Kholoko Tobejane, where there was no coaching there happening there. He didn't improve for a good few years, and he came to Paris. This guy worked on him. I mean, Mahopa was one of our best players at AFCON. You know, look at Rele, look at Nkotha, look at all these other guys. Talent Mbata came from SuperSport. We didn't make much of Talent Mbata when he was in SuperSport. He came there, and you know, that's coaching. He's a young.
Sipo Chaine as well. You can
Sipo
add on the list as
Chaine
well,
has
because,
improved. You know, so he has done well. 5 trophies in 3 years. It was quite a big deal.
Yeah.
But of course, I mean, the league, it's just a slight thing which he will look back with a little bit of regret. But then again, it's just like most of the players who were playing during peak Lionel Messi. He won everything because, you know, when Pirates are competing with Sundowns now, who are just so strong. But at the same time, you can't be ashamed. They finished twice after Sundowns when he was there. Though the points difference the gap was too big, but it's just one of those things. I think he can be proud of himself. He has done very well.
Yeah.
And I think the fans will remember him fondly. You know? He really stabilized the club. And also for Coach Mandla, I'm sure he learned a thing or two from him because he worked closely with him. And Coach Mandla also, I'm sure going forward, he will become a better coach because of the lessons that he has learned from this guy. A very, very quiet guy. I had a one-on-one with him. A very, very quiet guy. He doesn't like to talk much. He keeps things very close to his chest. Press conferences, he was a complete disaster at press conferences. Because of the fact that he doesn't want to talk much about anything. You know, so journalists didn't really like these press conferences because he doesn't talk much.
But I like how you always present the players.
Yeah, but a good human being, a good guy, very, very humble, and you know, we wish him well in his future endeavors.
We definitely do. And then just to wrap this up, Tommy, I mean, we'd love then to talk about Sundowns, but we just don't have time. So let's maybe then talk about player of the season. Influencer, we already have yours, so we're not going to get to yours. But your player of the season.
No, but the person who watched you for the first time wants to know what's your player of the season.
Oh, come on. You already said it's Ribeiro. You already said it's Ribeiro. It's Ribeiro. Take you out of your misery.
Let me go first.
Oh, so it's Ribeiro.
Yes, for influencer, it's Ribeiro.
Officially.
I'll tell you, Timmy. She's not my spokesperson.
You tell me.
Hey. Yeah.
Yes, Tims.
Of the season, okay.
Football of the season.
you see, I don't want to be one of those relying on stats, but unfortunately,
you disappoint
it gets
me
to
there.
that point.
Oh, no.
Look, the players that were exciting, you know, top of my head, Mofokeng, Relebohile Mofokeng. We saw Nkotha coming through as well. Mahalo, players from other clubs, not obviously your top tier clubs, but still they did well for their teams. To mention a few. But I think Riveiro, for me, it goes without saying, he's contributed to Pirates, to the champions in the past. Well, champions possibly.
At this point, it's like guys done.
Possibly.
No,
Do we say how about Fed?
So they just need a point, bro, and it's done.
By the time
Sundowns cannot lose all these games.
By the time this show comes out, Sundowns will have gotten the point against
are you saying
the
Sundowns cannot lose?
Bruh, I
will not lose.
You know what? It's
They must just take that.
Did you watch the game against Stellenbosch?
Guys, if you had...
Did you watch the game against Stellenbosch, Terms?
I understand the 3-0 one.
But it's not just the score line, it's just how they did it. And as can't see it, you look at the changes that they made, and
so
you're like,
Pirates is still there, guys. It's still chasing, can't they? The chase is still on. What's wrong with that?
They are saying the guy at Sundowns is making space in the trophy cabinet there to welcome the trophy.
Yeah, and Nelson is almost done with the trophy as well.
Okay.
It's going to
so we wait then. We wait until the final, that 1 point. We wait for the 1 point.
Okay, fine.
But again, going back to Riveiro, I'm also with Riveiro in that regard. I think I've watched Riveiro play and I get excited. Besides the stats, just watching his game, and to think that he's, we were joking that he's an unknown where he's from, in Brazil. He's an unknown. And to come here and do this, I think says a lot about the player, or, as well, I think his contribution, but also when Zwane left, we thought, hey, there might be a gap. But then he comes in and fills in that gap, and we almost forgot, about that with not Zwane, but the void left by him, because he filled it, Riveiro, and I think he did that very well. But I enjoy watching Riveiro. I mean, he's just Brazilian flair as well.
Yeah.
Technically, he's a really good player to watch. He does a lot for Sundowns. So I think for me, he's my footballer of the season, no doubt.
All right.
We
I
agree
guess
there.
you are. Exactly. See, look at him. Did you not hear him say he agrees?
But football people will agree.
I've heard. Do you know I had a debate with some former Orlando Pirates player, and they believe that Relay is the football of the season. But anyway, we'll leave this debate there.
Relay does not even come anywhere near.
You will let us know what you believe.
I'm a fan, but Relay.
Guys, it's fine. You told me Riveiro is your
star.
Thank you for that. But now then, to flip it over now to the good part, Terms, now where we talk about you and of course your journey in football. And I guess where do we start? Let's start at Dikgang Hellenic, where, one thing about Termy, which I've always found interesting, is that you were always fetched, bro. You are that player where bag lands. So if you guys, remember when we had him on the show, he was like, I used to fetch this guy to come play with us. So you were always, he used to play that. You just had to be fetched. And not only that, we'll get to it. You stopped trials at Cosmos because we're
exaggeration. I know who said that, but it's always
yeah.
But talk to us about the journey from Dikgang. When you being fetched, really, why didn't you want to go?
To explain that in simple terms, when football, they say when your your football career, basically, it's chasing you. When are you running away from it? But it comes and fetches you. Literally, I used to run away. When I see that van, because the Barlataga van, a yellow Yamaponesa, our preza.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when there's a game. So now when they come to my neighborhood,
Then
then
Slazers.
I'm like, I'm not ready now, please. I'm chilling with my boys. We're doing whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to go play football, you know.
For sure.
But that's how it was for me, unknowingly, that this is going to be put bread, on my table, food. I'm where I am because of that. It chased me until it caught up with me, and now, yeah. But yeah, so it's always been like that for me. I played for Dikgang, of course, and until I got to Cosmos, that's where they saw me the trial thing.
Can you please talk about the trial thing?
Let's talk about that
story.
I'm excited about the trial. Hey, I didn't stop any trials, please.
He didn't even have soccer boots, influencer. They had to say, Gwenya, give this guy soccer boots. He must go and show us something.
Okay, that's true, yes. I wasn't planning to go for trials.
Yeah.
It wasn't my plan for the day. Never Saturday school, back in the days, you go to school and then your parents make you go to school even on a Saturday, reluctantly so. But I went, and for some reason I decided, no man, I know there were trials, of course, and so I'm like, no, I want to go check them out, and I went straight from, took a taxi, go Orlando Stadium. They were held at the Orlando Stadium. The bus, I remember just being packed, and I couldn't believe how overwhelming the trials were in terms of attendance. Like, this thing is big for one team. Yeah. For one club.
And few positions also.
And few positions, buses. I'm like, okay, this is big. But anyway, I went in, and then I got to my friends. Of course, you love football. That was me. I love football like that. It's like, went in. Few minutes later, the guy said, I remember conducting trials. No, wait. Stop. We will see you on Monday at training. Now, I'm disappointed because I'm like, man. Why? I want to still play, I haven't
done anything.
And it's like, no, we'll see you. And there was like 3 of us. So it's not only me. Come on now.
So he had seen enough.
He's seen enough. You know what I mean? And he didn't stop. The trials didn't stop because of me, please. So I stopped and then went to. That's how I joined Cosmos.
Yeah.
I found Bolaki there, and so that's how I joined Cosmos. So I didn't stop trials, please.
No.
The trials didn't stop because of me.
You know who told me the story, and I'm glad you were there when he told me the story.
I know that one.
So we'll trust Donna. Donna won't lie to us. But I mean, then you didn't go to Cosmos, Tommy, and the other then story or belief is that Brajay loves you to bits. I think you're part of the people that would get the check first. Payday.
Where do you get these stories from?
Talk to us about your relationship with Brajay.
Now my former players will think I used to get a check.
I think even maybe you got more.
I got more. Yeah, well, there were times where, things got desperate, and you need your money now. I mean, you've earned it. It's not like it's favors or anything. But Cosmos is Cosmos.
Yeah.
I'll always have
A soft spot.
A soft spot, love for Cosmos. It's where I started everything, and how I started. It was never always like how it ended with Pirates and big and being known. Humble beginnings, and I think that's why I have a soft spot for Cosmos. Yeah.
Brajay, your relationship with him?
Easy. It's an easy relationship. It was an easy relationship, easy to talk to. Brajay. Brajay is not your typical chairman, as we know chairmans with other teams. I mean, we could sit like this. Prajay War Jimisa, he's easy with us. Coaching Yahai, it's easy for me. The relationship was easy because he would say that he could see that I'm not in the game, or my mind is not there. He's the kind of person who would say, "Hey, Temi, there was this one game I was just frustrated. I was actually angry at him because he was just shouting, and I'm playing. You are lining, so I'm closer to him. So I got, and he says, okay, he sees that I'm livid. He says, Temi, okay, go here and do that style. It's a style how you miss your ball. And I was like, this guy knows me, huh? And that worked for me, just to get me into the game. But that's the kind of relationship I had with him. He understood players, he understood me like that. Yeah. And that's why I'm like, he's easy to communicate to, he's easy to relate to as well. Sure.
So these stories, before I ask you the question about Cosmos, these stories of players getting angry with coaches. So Mambos tells me a story about Michael Manzini.
Yeah.
With Paul Doleza.
Yeah,
there was this player at Solos called Cesar Nombe. Remember the short guy?
Yeah, Nombe, the
very tricky player.
Yeah.
So Cesar is killing Michael Manzini. So Doleza is frustrated on the bench. Say, Manzini, stop this man! Yeah. Now, Pramak gets very angry. Now he swears at the coach. Doleza was a very
animated.
You swear the coach, you swear the coach, I take you out. He took him out.
He took him out.
Yeah, but now Bramak was closing the guy down. When he took him out, when they went back, Cesar Nombe scored. Because Michael was not there.
It's the characters we had, football characters.
Was fun during those days.
Yeah.
But now, a lot of young people would not actually understand how good that Cosmos side was when you arrived there. They really had very, very good footballers. It's a pity Cosmos is where they are now, but it was a very, very good team.
Yeah, no. Where they are is a different story, and for another day. But I think 100%. I mean, Cosmos during those, days, you'd have like a lot of players in the squad, national team. Like you've got most players from Cosmos. Believe it or not, your Sapulas, you can count them. Macbeth. Many players played in the national team, and that's how Cosmos was. Yeah. At some point, what we would call school academy, or of football. And I think for me, it's just the type of players they produced as well. Not only in the squad, but players went overseas. Yeah. We knew when you go to Cosmos, there's a chance to go play overseas. And Jomo also knew that. I mean, players want to play for Cosmos because of that. So that's where we were. I mean, we won the Coca-Cola Cup.
Coca-Cola Cup, yeah.
For the first time in a long time. Yeah. A club like Cosmos, yes, we got beaten the year before, but the character to come back, they gave us 5, we gave them 1 the next year to win the Coca-Cola Cup. So that's the kind of Cosmos, of course, team we were at that time.
Talk to us about, the relationship you had with your teammates, because I know there's a time also where you would stay until late for training sessions just to work on your crosses, because you felt you also needed to deliver them a bit better. So talk to us about that relationship amongst your teammates, and you just making sure that you stay late so that you actually deliver the ball to your teammates.
Yeah, and here's the thing about I like that question because it speaks to also you as a player, what players want, current and even before. What do you want? Are you doing this? Do you love this thing? Are you doing it? When you wake up, what's the first thing that comes to mind? What excites you? I think if you know answers to that, if it's football, then you will go far. When you just wake up and all you think of is football. When you sleep, all you think about is you're playing a game in your mind. Be it from the under 12s, under 16s, you're already thinking about the weekend's game. I think I used to do that a lot. I used to. And I didn't know I was visualizing, what they call visualizing now. It's
These days.
I didn't know I was doing it, but I was doing it, instinctively. And that's a thing. That's a difference between you players that are meant to play, players that will go somewhere, you know, for the game, a gift kind of. So that was, I was that kind of a player. So it wasn't difficult for me. It was an easy thing for me to say, I need to have 10 balls. I bought balls, put them in my boot, travel with the balls wherever I go, whenever I need them. Obviously, you know, when I go, if we're not training, or we're training in the afternoon, in the morning I would drive to any field. Sometimes I'm not even allowed to train there, but I would go in there with the balls, kick the balls, and I'm alone. So the effort, you see that process. You kick the balls, they go over the fence, they go to the other house, you have to fetch it, you know. Just that shows the commitment that instinctively comes. And I think that's how I was, that's who, you know, what football meant to me. So I think that's what, you know, that's the difference between players making it
For sure.
and players, you know, not making it in football. Yes, there's effort, there's training and all of that, but I think, you know, it takes special players also to have that instinct in you.
Do you think that also helped your relationship with Tiko Bokone, because he speaks about those crosses and that relationship that you guys had where, you know, it's, he'll be at the box and it's done?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. When you know a striker will be there, you don't have to overthink when you have the ball down the line and think, where am I going to take it? You don't have to go through that. You know, once I beat this person, I know that I'm just going to put the ball in. He's going to be there. And he knows that Tammy will bring that ball. And I know where to go. You know what I mean? Those are sometimes it's also, yes, the telepathy that you build with your teammates, but it takes effort from you as a striker and me as a winger, as a you know, wide player. I have to do my job, you have to do your job. Now, if we complement each other, then it's a good team. That's what makes a good a football team.
For sure.
You know, it's that chemistry, but it always takes an effort from you first as an individual. You know, the effort you put. I must make sure that Tiko when he gets there, he doesn't have to do much. All he has to do is run into space, and he knows he's going to come in and he scores a goal. Credit goes to him. He's a good top goal scorer. You know, I'm assisting, I'm contributing into that, and with all of that, we have a good team.
True.
Tim, I want to ask you something about Cosmos. You must have played lots of games with Bamuza.
Yes.
You know, kids of...
He was my scout. He scouted me, kind of. I always say, you know. He recruited me, kind of. He was involved in all of that.
So children of former big players are always caught in this thing of when they are following in their father's footsteps. They are almost all the time compared to their fathers. I mean, Kaiser Chiefs is the same thing. And I truly feel that if Kaiser Chiefs didn't play for Chiefs, he could have done much better, because he was a good enough finisher, not a bad player at all. Same as Bamuza. How good was Bamuza?
Bamuza was good, and I think technically he had that, you know, pass in him. I'm talking about his strengths now. He technically was good, but I think obviously the shadow, you know, of his father will always follow him. It will always be a thing. He will have that pressure. It's unfortunate that he was born into that kind of greatness. It will always be a thing. You know, it's almost impossible to escape it. And it becomes now how you are judged. It doesn't matter, you know, how much effort you put in, you will always be judged. It's unfortunate. It's a difficult thing to shake off. It's a difficult thing to shake off. You will always be known, yes, you are Eric Sono, or no, Bamuza Sono. But Bamuza Sono, son of, you cannot shake that greatness.
No, you can't.
You know, it's like a curse and a blessing
At the same
at the
time.
same time.
Yeah.
That's the simplest way of explaining it, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Kaiser Mphahlele Jr. also. Because Kaiser Mphahlele Jr., I'm sure you must have played
Exactly.
against him. The guy was not bad, eh? Just that, you know, it's Kaiser Mphahlele.
There's Kaiser.
The son of
Yeah.
Kaiser Mphahlele playing for Kaiser Chiefs.
Yeah.
It's 3 Kaisers in one.
Too much.
It's too
Yeah,
much.
no, you
He
can't
scored
escape.
goals. He was good finisher.
I mean, they played their game. They did their part. They did their best. If you remove, you know, the name, just watch him as a player. I think it would have been a different story for both of them. You
For
know?
sure.
And it does get to them, by the way, as well. I know with Bamuza, it does get to them, whether they see it or not. But it does get to them because fans, it does affect them in a game. It does affect them, you know, at certain times because you'd see his mood changes. You know, he gets dejected at times. He gets, you know, it gets to him. It works him out, and I could see him.
For sure. Before we wrap this up, Payday at Cosmos was always my favorite story.
My
So-
team, of course.
So talk
Exciting.
talk to us about that
Exciting
exciting
time.
So you got paid on the 32nd.
If you are lucky. No, look, and those are the stories, you know, it's nice, man, to go through all that in your football career. Payday was exciting. We get to training on Payday. You have to make sure, we all know it's Payday, of course, but now everyone is thinking after training.
Yeah.
Because now, Malaysia bank, because Yolanda, you change check. Yeah, it used to be checks really then.
Yeah.
Now, bank is a Josie like part in town, and you have to drive to town. If you don't have a car, you make sure that whoever's got a car, I'm telling you, after trading, people basagqokile ukhipha nje ama-cocks or even go ungena ngama-cocks bank.
Yeah.
Sifika lapha ebank, I'm sure people are like, what is happening? People wearing kit yebhola, ninqolile, and you are there queuing, nifuna check, uzobhadala. And mind you, if inokuphela angithi imali. Yeah, if usemuva ufika late, boy, uzokubona
Tomorrow.
ngelinye ilanga, you know, bazokutshela ukuthi hayi seyiphelile la.
Yeah.
And that's what we were rushing for after training ukuthi yeah. Mele sigijime. Sithi lapha small street. Kana small street ibone hey omunye uyabuya thema uyithole la yaphangisa. It's like yeah. And but yeah man, hey, yazi ugijimeli check you get to Pirates and it's like hey, come on ding relaxing. Awugijimi
Or
anyway.
SuperSport. It's much
And
better.
SuperSport, you know, things are taking. And you're like, oh, Bunjela. Hey, Bafid. You're not rushing. Don't rush. Easy. Why are you rushing? Relax. He's on Ghana, boy.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, but I love those stories. I love those moments, you know, going back and talking about them.
Oh no, I love it too. And then we move because of time. We're going to move then to a period in your career where it was a tad not nice because of what you went through at SuperSport United. We had Yapi Mudali not so long ago, and he was just telling us about
Hey,
your stories there as well. But talk to us about
Tell
that.
me, park the car. Park the car. The calf is killing you.
hey guys, like it was a sin, like, you know, yeah, the world is over now that I bought a car.
Yeah.
But I think it's the culture. But your question, obviously, it's you know, you're talking about my time at SuperSport and the relationship I had with the coach Peter, and fun enough, you know, when coaches want you, they will be here calling, you know, and that's how I went to SuperSport, by the way.
Yeah.
And, Jomo wasn't happy, yeah. No, I was never happy. I understand why. I was like,
Well, I think you followed Lafort.
No, the first time it was just me.
Yeah.
The first time, yeah, it was because I I left Cosmos twice. So when I went to SuperSport, I think Lafo went after me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Lafo. It was Tiko.
Oh, Tiko, yeah.
Yeah, it was me and Tiko that left.
That's why Braji was not here.
Oh, he was not happy. So anyway, my time there was a difficult one. Yeah. It was a difficult one. It wasn't easy for me, and as I said, I almost quit football. You know, I almost quit football. It was the first time that I faced anything such as that. But yeah, you know, I recovered. My relationship with Vito obviously soured up, and we were just not getting along when I was there. I mean, we had our differences, you know. But I realized that in football it does happen where, you know, as players, you realize that things could have been handled differently. Things could have been handled differently. I think it's the manner, it's the way in which things were handled between me and him. I think it could have been, you know, handled in a different manner where you have a communication with the coach and, you know, sit down and talk. But that never happened. Yeah. And I think that's what worsened the situation. You know, when you're in the dark, you don't know what's happening. You assume, you know, and that frustrates you as a player. I was a player who never really liked to approach, to engage coaches. You know, I was never that person, and I think that made things difficult for me. I learned that the hard way.
What were the differences, though, Terms?
I think either it was things on the pitch, on the field, as well as outside of football. So I was already, I think, married, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you got married when you were
I was married,
18.
yeah. Wow.
I'm joking.
I was not married at 19.
I'm joking.
I had a bit of life, please. Anyway, so yeah, man. I you know, you at the point in your life where you are a father, you are an adult, a husband, and there's certain things that you cannot obviously tolerate and allow to happen. So I think that's where the difference was. Peter was also, you know, coaching other younger players, and I think I felt like maybe I should have been also given a bit of a respect in that regard. Football-wise also, I think I didn't maybe give him what he wanted. You know, I have to be honest about things. Maybe I didn't live up to his expectations, and obviously that frustrated him, but then it frustrated me as well, because I also came in and thought I would play a certain way. He saw how I can play, and maybe it just didn't happen, and I felt that, no, man, there was friction, and it didn't turn out good. There are personal things as well outside of football where I felt, look, me buying a car has got nothing to do with me playing football, you know. And you addressing it like Jappy did. Jappy has also, of course, you guys heard the story here on the show. Yeah, and it did happen, where you get a situation where now, okay, we're training and, you know, do whatever, the drills and all of that, and he said something like, "Hey, Tammy, yeah, you must park the car, eh? Park the car. Where's the cross? Take the balls and go kick a few balls there, put crosses in, park the car." Eh? Now, I take it personal. I know it's funny, but I took it personal. Like, okay, what does my car have to do with everything now?
But because you're an overthinker as well.
You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, we are here. Now, my car... And
then he tells him, Timana, Pakistan,
Now, guys, if anything, you know, you're like, okay, please judge me on my football. Leave my car, no. So now it didn't sit well, man. You know, it's funny now, but it isn't because I'm like, did he really, you know, me? Yeah. I'm like, okay, now this is personal.
Yeah.
This is personal. So it became personal, and it just got worse. You know, it got worse, and we never really saw eye to eye when it comes to the game, and we just fell apart.
But now, how's the relation? I'm sure you.
No. That's why I can talk about it now. I mean, I wish sometimes we could just sit down and talk about these things. It's one person I've never really sat down to talk about how
him,
I felt, you know, about him back then. There's no, I'm not, going to hide anything. Yeah, it's football. It happens. I was not happy. We didn't have a good relationship, you know, back then. But I understood later on in life also that he was right, you know. I was probably, there's certain things I needed to improve. It was just like I said, the way how he relates the message to me, it was just not. But he was right. I needed to understand certain things I needed to improve, and maybe I was just in denial then, or I didn't see it. But actually, I probably did need to improve on certain aspects of the game. And I see it that way. He's a good coach. He's proven himself. I know he was passionate. So it's just him expressing himself. Sometimes it can be overwhelming to other people. Yeah, it just can be too much on certain people.
No, even for us as journalists, we have
heard
our run-ins with coach.
And if you can't handle that, if you can't take that, you take it personal. But that's who he is.
And I mean, we have a good relationship with him. We see, like we're saying, we are laughing about this things now. There's never really anything personal.
That's who he is. Football.
We love Coach Pizzo.
No, we definitely do. And unfortunately, we can't talk about your time at Maritzburg. But then let's move to Orlando Pirates. I mean,
Maritzburg.
It's not personal.
It was short though. But
it
was a significant part of the shot. Yeah.
So you go to Orlando Pirates. Dr. Ivan Khoza himself convinces you to sign, go to his house. And I guess you could say he was kind of your neighbor because in your neighborhood. Talk to us about how you signed and then you stay at Orlando Pirates.
No, simple. Well, it wasn't simple. It wasn't simple at all, actually, because there was a court case there and all these things. Yeah, it was a second stint at Cosmos.
Yeah.
And I had to leave Cosmos, go to Pirates. So you can imagine how the big man, Mr. Sono felt now the second time around. But when I went to Pirates, there was also the whole thing with the contracts and issue, and the case was opened, and I had to attend a court case while about to join Pirates. I mean, I joined the team late. The season has started. It started. We had a few.
What were you accused
played
of?
a few games, of having a contract with Cosmos still, and I was obviously believed that it wasn't. My contract was done.
Yeah.
So hence the move to Pirates. Hence I agreed to move to Pirates, which was my knowledge, of course then. But yeah, I didn't want to start these games. When it comes to contracts,
you extended. You forgot that you extended.
Yeah?
You forgot that you extended.
Yeah. Well,
because but some pages is true.
Some pages.
Some pages just somehow disappear.
Some disappears.
Yeah, the magic happens. You miss pages and all these things. But look. I went to Pirates late, joined the team, of course. It wasn't a smooth transition for that reason. But it was a huge move. Yes, I went to I say officially signed for Pirates, go phase 3, go deep proof. Phase 2. Well, I'm phase 3, he's phase 2. The chairman, of course.
Cheese area, Nele.
Yeah, I divide the Chiefs,
the cheese.
What, phase 3? Well, the extension, about the cheese. They use, that's what they used to say. But yeah, I mean, at Deep Kloof, that's where I signed at his house. Well, officially joined Pirates because I had the day before I had left the office. I wasn't going to sign, so I left the office in Houghton, where I was supposed to have signed the contract, but we didn't agree, and I left. You know, it was me saying, well, I'm not gonna play for Pirates. That's it. You know, with that disagreement, and just as I left the office that day before, I left the office, drove off 2 minutes, I think, by traffic lights. The robot, got a call. My phone rang, and I was with my agent, by the way. My phone rang, or probably driving alone, but my phone rang, and I could immediately hear the voice. For some reason, I could instinctively hear that this is a voice. Yeah, be careful what you say.
It's a big man.
Yeah, I could hear. Hello, tell me, Mabalane. Why? When's Mabalane? And I knew I had to explain. Like, hey, Chairman, we just couldn't agree, on terms.
Yeah.
So I left the office. No, man. Where's la Pendline? Yes, I know very well that. Yeah, it's la Paksasa 7. Okay, no, this was a chairman. And that's how I ended up going to the house. In the morning, 7 o'clock. I had to be
He's an early person.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a man. 7. Oh, suit and everything. Dressed up. So now, I mean, you see, we mean business here.
Yeah.
Waiting for him, and he walks in. And I started giving, of course, a lecture, as usual, as expected, about the team. And, telling me the history, Jomo's, statistics, all these things.
Yeah.
And eventually he says, okay, tomorrow go there, tell them, they'll give you what you want, basically. And sort things out there.
So how are you sitting here, Tim? Are you looking him in the eye or are you looking down?
I am sitting, and you see I'm relaxed now, I'm like this, chilled here.
Yeah.
No, there I'm like upright, sitting like this, because you like listen to, an elder.
Yeah.
Speaking. And I had to sit like this and and everything is yes. There's no disagreement. Yes. Everything is right, yes. And it's go there, and I don't remember even saying anything.
Sure.
I don't remember saying anything then.
You get matching orders, that's it.
And yeah, but it's like there's nothing to say. All I'm waiting for is, am I getting the contract or not? Am I signing or not? That's the one part I'm waiting for. And he's like, no, tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, thank you, Chairman. And that's when that's how I signed for Pirates.
Did you understand how big that club was then?
I knew from, like we all do, but I think when they told me, I remember when they told me, your life is going to be different. It's not going to be the same again. It didn't sink in even then. I didn't really, But as soon as you walk on to the pitch, now you're walking for the first time into a game, not Cosmos game, where, you see a few friends there, pushing there. You walk into a game and the noise, and I think that's what hits you. Okay, this team is big, because now of all the support, and the derby even was different, because now you realize that now I'm playing for a professional big club. Now I'm playing for a big club. I've never felt this before. Yeah. I've played so many professional games before, but this is a big club. And that's what you get for the first time. And you walk out of a derby and people start asking you and calling you. And, recognizing you more than before, you know, talking about the derby, Nibashaya tomorrow, hey man, yeah, win kusasa. You know, that gives you a feeling of where you are now. And that's the difference.
The battle with Dugu, as much as yes, he's your friend, but hey, Ngwenya, someone must start. Talk to us about that.
No, and look, Dugu, we knew each other, you know, before me coming to Pirates, of course, from the early ages, playing football together, you know, the under-20 national team, whatever. We knew each other, and we were good friends. I think we were cool. For some reason, we were cool. There was no animosity or anything like we were cool, and I think we just connected. So even when I got there, this is competition. By the way, when I joined Pirates, it was a very big decision, because I had to go to. It was me choosing between. You know, that's the story we didn't talk about. I had to choose between Sundowns and.
So Sundowns were looking
Pirates. Sundowns made an offer already. Sundowns, it was done. Okay, Jomo was done with Sundowns.
Oh, Jomo did a deal with Sundowns.
We move on. And I was done with Pirates. So anyway, so I had to make a decision also based on, am I going to play where I'm going? Sundowns, I knew there was like 4 lining up on the same position players already. You know, I was going to be the 5th one, if I'm not mistaken, at that time. So I had to weigh my chances of playing there. So that's also another reason why I joined, how I made a decision to join Pirates. You know, there were of course players, good players there, but it wasn't a long list in my position. And I thought that I can compete there. So yeah, Makanya, Cheese, Buyani, all of these players, good players. So yeah.
So Cheese, when you go to Pirates, a big club, obviously the attention is there. Now, you have been in the limelight for a while now, but just generally throughout your professional career, how did you deal with fame? And I guess maybe also in a way of advising these young players that are there now. We have got quite a big chunk of young players coming through who, you know, are going to encounter pressure and fame, and some of them fortune, a lot of money, and all those kinds of things. The trappings of fame can be very, very bad if you don't, if you are not careful.
Yeah, and here's a more realistic answer. You can't really escape the fame. You know what I mean? You're getting into a space where you will be seen. You are the spectacle. It's not easy. So I understand people when they say, you know, stay humble. Hey, stay humble how? Stay humble how when you constantly
They're coming.
constantly get the attention, but you are the attention, you know. So I think it's misleading to say you stay humble. We do our best to stay humble, but you can't force, you know, staying humble. It's either you are or you are not, and that is the difference. It's either you are a humble person or not.
Because sometimes the temptations are just hectic.
What temptations are these?
And you will get that attention.
What temptations are these, guys?
No, I mean temptations from everything, like being out there and being, you know, enjoying yourself, partying. Yeah, that's where we are. Yes, the women also come. You know, the ladies are there. Attention from the ladies, of course. It happens not only in football, it happens in every sphere of life.
For sure.
9-to-5 guy, if he starts getting a job, a promotion, and starts buying things, and his life improves, totally upgrade nyana, the attention you will get.
Of course.
It's just that ours is different because you constantly there, you know, publicly so. But you do get attention, and it's either like I'm saying, you know, you can't escape, you can't totally really escape it.
All right, we've officially run out of time. Before you ask your last question, I saw you did a sit down with Nkotha, and there's also a debate on his performance at Orlando Pirates.
Yeah.
Talk to us about Nkotha as a player from what you've seen.
Oh yeah. I think I can relate because of his position as well.
Yeah.
And also he's at Pirates, doing well there. I think he's done well. Nkotha is one of the players that have contributed. There were times where, you know, he faced a bit of a criticism. he went through criticism from a lot of Pirates fans, but he still managed. He prevailed. He managed to get himself out of it and actually prove himself to be a very influential player in the club. Contribution-wise, I think he's done well. Otto influences the game. He makes a difference in the game. I remember Kroll used to say, speed is a weapon, to me once. And I never forgot that. And I actually took that and ran with it. So speed is crucial, especially for a team like Pirates, which Otto provides. But not only that, I mean, the man influences the game, Pirates winning the games. If you analyze some of his games, if you analyze Pirates games, his contribution, it's not a by chance that Otto plays a lot of games. There's no way that he can fool different coaches. It means there's something that he genuinely does, he does in the game. He contributes. Factual, statistically, it means he does well. So for me, I think, he's been that player for Pirates.
All right, influencer.
I'm going to ask two questions last now. First one of the second last. Football has evolved in a way, and you increasingly see more and more coaches now going to play, and while during that time, and for the person that played, he was more going on to the wing and putting in a cross. And how has football changed? And if you were playing today, you think you can still be that effective as you were before because of these new evolutions of football? And lastly, also, how have you found this analysis thing on TV?
Yeah.
A lot of people talk a lot of stuff about it. There are those that are overhyped and all that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Okay. Okay, let me answer it. Let me analyze that, but I'll make it simple. I like the question because now it speaks to just football in general, where we are. I think it has evolved, yes, but it was for a long time evolved to possession football. Barcelona football, and it was due to Peps, Barcelona's influential people like that, and clubs for a long period of time. But I think now I've noticed something in football. It is going back to how it used to be. In a way, I think it's getting back to that. Why I'm saying that, now you get wingers. If you've noticed, now you have proper old-fashioned wingers that is coming back slowly, or being integrated back into the
inverting.
Game. Instead of inverting, now you have wingers. I'll give you an example. Mbappe is a winger now. Neymar, before, he was already also more of a winger. But I think Yamal is a winger. Yamal stays right on the line. Mbappe stays when he wants to, take on players. You're not going to do it because he's a speedy player. You're not going to do it inside. So hence, it forces him to play wide.
Bukayo Saka is one.
Sorry?
Bukayo Saka.
It's going back to because now that's the nature of football. It evolves, it keeps changing. It's not stagnant. It's not static. It's one sport that's not static, and I think it's going back to that. I mean, I'm seeing that, and I like that. We have numbers now again, back to numbers. You have a 6. You have an 8. We call them by numbers. Back, we again calling them using the numbers. You know what I mean? You have a 5 instead of center, because that's football. It's flexible. It changes. That's what it must do anyway. So I think now we're going back to that. If you'll notice a lot of players now, we have proper wingers, because now it gets predictable. After a while. So what do we do now? Hence, it's going back again to say, okay, maybe it's not your old-fashioned exactly as it is, but it's using width and want players to stay there to create space. Because now all these passing, we did that. Now players are scared. players don't want the ball, don't want to take responsibility, don't want to do the hard work.
For sure.
You know, they now say I'm an inverted winger because now you have 6 near 5 match. You know,
Sure.
8 near 5. Where are the other positions? Everyone wants to be a ball player.
Because some teams will play with 3 triangles in the middle. It's just too saturated in the midfield end.
And
For-
unfortunately,
it's predictable.
we can't expand more on that.
and
The
te-
analysis,
television work?
talk to us about analysis.
We
I
try
remember.
to simplify, to make it short.
No, I know it's time. We
Yeah,
run out of
yeah,
time completely.
yeah.
Analysis. I remember for me, I think one of my favorite moments in terms of your analysis when you had to interview Dugu Makanya at the DDC. I thought that was nice.
Oh, yeah.
Friends, now you're on the other side. Now he's the coach. I thought
Yeah.
that was a lovely moment. Talk to us about that.
Aye, Dugu is easy to talk to relate to. Now as a coach,
Yeah.
you know, I'll always see him as a player, my colleague, so
Yeah.
it becomes easy to talk to him. So now I think you learn the other side of the game where now, the industry where now you are not on the field, you look at it as everyone else has been looking at it, you know.
Sure.
And I think that's one thing you also need to learn. But not only that, you need to do also your research. There's a lot of research
that's
that needs
true.
to be done, a lot of work. Just because I played it doesn't mean I come there and say, I played the game and I'll analyze it from that.
Don't say as you can see.
As you can see. Yeah. You know, there's a lot that we learn from
Yeah.
you. See it like you see it, because now there's the stats and everything,
Yeah.
you know, that we need to understand to explain how you understand the game as a player, but still it's complemented by stats and all of that. So all of that it becomes. But I think the main important thing is we are there because we played the game.
For sure.
You know, show people what they can't see. We bring it onto the screen.
All right. Tommy,
Yeah,
it's been
this was
fantastic
good, yeah?
having you. No, it was, I mean, it's Terminator. It's always going to be good. Thank you for coming.
You can't go to extra time.
Extra, we do not have extra
Oh.
time. Literally, I can feel side eyes. I can't see them, but I can feel side eyes that we need to
I
finish
trained
and
for
wrap
90
up.
minutes, not the extra time. My legs can't take me all the way.
Park the car, Tebia. Park the car.
Yeah, now you'll be telling me, hey, to park the car because I can't cross now.
But that's how we wrap up the Arena Sports Show. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as we did. We'll see you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye.
Ciao, ciao.